Ren lived alone in a small wooden cabin on the frozen planet called Narasix. The sky was always gray, the ground was always cold, snow never stopped falling. Ren didn't mind, he liked quiet places, he liked the sound of the wind more than the sound of people. Most days he chopped wood, boiled water, and stayed close to his fire. One evening, just as he was about to eat a simple meal, the ground shook slightly beneath his feet, then came a loud crash like something had fallen from the sky and hit the forest behind his home. Ren froze. That was not a sound usually made. He grabbed his heavy coat, put on his thick boots, and stepped outside. The snow was falling harder now, the wind was sharp. He followed the sound through the trees, deeper and deeper into the woods. After walking for 10 minutes, he saw something strange. Silver pieces of metal, scattered on the snow, steam rose from a small crater in the ground. In the center of the crater, half buried in snow and broken parts, was a small round pod. It looked like an escape ship, but it was not human. Carefully, Ren stepped closer. The pod hissed and sparked. The side door was open. Inside, something moved. A small figure, maybe as tall as Ren's chest, crawled out slowly. Its skin was covered in soft fur that shimmered like moonlight. Its arms and legs were thin, and its face looked almost like a cat's. Big eyes, short nose, and long ears that twitched in the cold. The creature tried to stand, but stumbled. Ren rushed forward and caught it before it fell. "Let go of me," the creature said in a strange, shaky voice. Its common tongue was broken but clear enough to understand. "You're hurt," Ren said calmly and freezing. "I do not require help from humans," it said, trying to stand on its own again. "You'll freeze out here," Ren said. "My home is near. Come with me, or you'll pass out in minutes." The creature hesitated. Its legs were shaking. One hand pressed to its side, where a piece of metal had torn part of its suit. Finally, it gave a small nod. Ren didn't ask more questions. He lifted the creature carefully and carried it through the snow back toward his cabin. Inside, the warmth of the fire filled the small room. Ren laid the creature down on a thick mat near the heat. He took off its broken gear carefully, making sure not to touch any wounds. "Stay still," Ren said. "I'll get you warm." The creature hissed softly, but it didn't fight him. "You are not what I expected from a human," it said. After a moment, "I get that a lot," Ren replied, placing a thick blanket over its small body. "What's your name?" "Talai," it said quietly. "Scout of the Varnon." "Nice to meet you, Talai. I'm Ren." Tali looked at the fire, eyes wide. "This fire is strong. It's old Earth tech, works better than the new ones." Tali blinked slowly. Her ears twitched again. "You gave me shelter. You needed it." Tali closed her eyes, her breathing slow. She muttered something under her breath in her own language. Ren didn't understand it, but her tone was soft, not angry, not afraid, just tired. Ren sat down on the other side of the fire, watching the storm continue. Outside the window, a strange alien had fallen from the sky tonight. She was cold, proud, and clearly not used to kindness from humans. But Ren had space, he had warmth, and maybe, just maybe, this quiet home wasn't meant to be his alone anymore. The storm outside grew stronger. Wind howled against the windows, and snow piled up at the door. Inside the small cabin, the fire burned steady, filling the room with soft orange light. Tali sat wrapped in a thick blanket near the fire. Her silver fur looked dull now, dirty from the crash. Her eyes followed every move Ren made, watching with curiosity and caution. Ren was at the stove heating water for tea. He didn't talk much, but his actions were calm and gentle. He placed a mug in front of her. "It's warm, try it," he said. Tali sniffed at first, then she took a small sip. Her ears twitched. "It tastes like dried leaves and steam," she said. "That's because it is." She looked at him. "You are strange." "I get that a lot," Ren said with a small smile. For a while they sat in silence. The only sounds were the fire crackling and the wind outside. Tali's body slowly stopped shaking and her breathing grew steady. "You don't live with others?" she asked. "No," Ren said. "I like quiet people. Talk too much." Tali tilted her head. "But humans are known for being loud. You are not loud." "I left the loud ones behind." Tali looked around the cabin. It was simple but warm. There were shelves filled with books and old tools. A cooking pot hung near the fire. A single bed was placed against the wall with soft blankets and pillows. "This place is not unpleasant," she said, high praise coming from someone who called me strange. "I did not mean it as insult," Talai said quickly. "Strange can be good, just different." Nodded. "You said your name is Talai. You're a scout?" "Yes, I was sent to map this area and check for safe zones. My ship was damaged. I lost power and crashed." She looked down at her hands. "I did not expect to survive." "You were lucky," Ren said. "If you had landed further out, no one would have found you." "I did not know humans lived here. Most don't. This place is too cold, too far from the trade lines." "Why do you stay?" Ren looked at the fire. "Some people need space. I'm one of them." Tally studied his face quiet for a moment, then she looked at the bed, and then back at him. There is only one sleeping area, she said. Yeah, I'll sleep. On the floor, Ren replied. Talai's ears twitched again. No, that would break. The balance, what balance in my culture? If someone gives shelter, the one who receives must give warmth in return. That is the rule. You already said thank you. That's enough. Talai frowned. No, you do not understand. It is not about thanks. Warmth must be shared. If I take from your fire, I must help with your rest. That is the proper way. Ren raised an eyebrow. So what are you saying? I will share the bed, she said, serious only to return warmth, nothing more. Ren scratched his head. You really don't have to. I must. You gave shelter. I returned balance. She stood up. A little shaky but determined, she walked to the bed, climbed in and curled up tightly on one side. Her fur puffed slightly as she settled into the blanket. I will not disturb you, she said. Do not move too much. It ruins the warmth flow. Ren laughed softly. All right, just don't steal all the blanket. He turned down the lights, removed his boots, and laid on the other side of the bed, keeping a careful distance as he lay. There he could feel the warmth coming off her small body like a living eater. It was surprisingly pleasant. Telly spoke quietly, almost whispering. You are not like the others I've studied. Humans were always seen as loud and selfish, but you gave me fire and safety, Ren replied. Eyes half closed. Not all humans are the same. Maybe I was wrong, she said softly. Maybe warmth can come from quiet too. And with that, the storm outside continued to rage, but inside the cabin, the strange silence between human and alien slowly turned into something new, something soft, something warm. Morning came slowly on Narasix. The sun barely showed behind the thick clouds, but the sky had lightened just enough to mark the end of the storm. Ren opened his eyes and blinked. Something warm and soft was pressed against his back. He turned slightly and saw Tally curled up close, still fast asleep. Her fur was warmer than any blanket he owned. She made a soft noise as she breathed, like a quiet hum. Ren didn't move. He didn't want to wake her. After a while, Talai's ears twitched. Her eyes opened halfway. When she realized how close she was to Ren, she sat up quickly and pulled the blanket around herself. I was regulating warmth, she said quickly, ears standing straight. It was not personal. Ren yawned. Didn't say it was. I must be clear. It was only a return of balance. Nothing else. Understood, he said, sitting up and stretching. Still thanks for not kicking me off the bed. I would never do that. Talai said you gave shelter. I gave warmth. It is proper. Ren stood and walked to the stove. He started boiling water. Again, you're serious about this warmth return rule? Ha. Talai nodded. It is tradition. My people believe kindness must be matched. If not, one side carries a weight that causes discomfort for both. I see. Ren said, so if I gave you food, would you try to cook? She paused. I do not know how, but I would try. Ren smiled. To himself, he made 2 cups of tea and handed one to her. Thanks, she said softly, holding it with both hands. The storm had ended, but snow still covered the world. Outside, it was clear now that Tally couldn't leave soon. Her small pod was still broken, and the nearest repair station was many days away by foot or by signal. Neither option worked in this weather. After breakfast, Ren opened a storage box and pulled out an old toolkit. We should check your pod, he said. See how bad the damage is. Tally followed him outside, now wearing a thick coat Ren had given her. It was far too big for her, but it kept her warm. They'd reached the crash site. The pod was tilted sideways, part of its engine half buried in snow, wires stuck out in every direction. One panel was completely melted. This is worse than I thought, Ren said, kneeling down. I was lucky to survive, Talai admitted. Ren inspected the parts one by one. I can fix some of this, but we'll need supplies and time. Tally looked down. I am sorry for what I am a burden. Ren looked at her. You're not. You didn't choose to crash here. Besides, it's been quiet here for too long. It's nice to have someone to talk to. Talai didn't answer right away. Her ears lowered slightly, and her eyes softened. You are not like the others. You said that before, Ren said with a grin. Maybe your people need better information. We thought humans were too emotional, too loud, too unpredictable. We can be, Ren said, but not always. I like quiet too. That night back at the cabin, Talai helped Ren prepare dinner. She tried to cut vegetables, but her hands weren't made for human tools. Still, she didn't give up. After they ate, Ren made the bed again. Tally stood near it, looking unsure. You don't have to sleep there if you're uncomfortable, Ren said. She shook her head. No, I must return the warmth again. It is still owed. You've done more than enough. Talai stepped closer. Not for your sake, for mine. Ren raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? She looked down. When I share warmth, I feel safe. That is not normal for me. I do not understand it. Ren didn't Reply for a moment, then he pulled back the blanket and laid down on one side. Well, I don't understand a lot of things either, but this bed's big enough for two. Tally nodded and climbed in, curling up as before, her back to him. If you move too much, she said softly, it will break the heat line. I'll stay still, Ren promised. Outside, the snow began to fall again, but inside the cabin, warmth and silence filled the room, shared, simple, and slowly becoming something more. The next few days on Nara 6 passed slowly with the storm still raging outside, and Tally settled into a routine. Each morning, Ren would check the broken pod, hopping to find a way to fix it, while Tally would spend her time learning human ways. She had a quiet curiosity, often watching Ren work with tools and trying to imitate his movements at night. They shared the bed, each maintaining the warmth balance. Tally insisted on Ren grew used to the soft hum of Tally's breathing and the quiet warmth that radiated from her. It felt comfortable, but there was something else too, a growing feeling he couldn't quite understand. One evening after dinner, they sat by the fire. Ren was sharpening a knife, and Tally was studying a book of earth plant life he had found in an old box. I didn't know humans studied plants this much, Tally said, flipping through the pages. Most of the life forms we've encountered don't spend time on this. Well, plants are important, Ren said with a shrug. Keep us alive, they tell us about the environment. I suppose it's a way to understand the world. Is that why you live here? Tally asked. To understand this world. Ren thought about it for a moment. I guess, but also I like the silence. I don't want to be surrounded by the noise of too many people. Tally paused, her large eyes fixed on him. But humans need people, don't they, to talk, to share, maybe? Ren replied, but not all humans, some just need space. I need space. Tally didn't respond right away. She closed the book and looked into the fire. The crackling flames seemed to draw her in, as though they were whispering secrets she wasn't quite ready to hear. Later, as Ren got ready to sleep, Tally's soft voice broke the quiet. I dream a lot, she said, her tone distant. Dreams? Ren asked, turning to face her. I dream of my home, the fields we used to live in, the tall green grasses. I remember my family, my people, they were all together, we were safe. Ren was quiet for a moment. What happened? Tally's ears drooped, and her voice dropped to a whisper. There was a war, a silent war. We didn't even know it was happening until it was too late. The enemy came in the night. When we were not ready, they took everything. Ren's heart sank. I'm sorry. I was sent to scout to find a new home for the Varnon, but now. Tally paused. I am far from home. I may never return. Ren stayed silent. There was nothing he could say to make her feel better, but he understood what it meant to lose everything. Tally continued, her voice barely a whisper. I don't understand this. You are so different from what I was taught about humans. You didn't need to help me. You could have left me in the cold, but you didn't. You gave me warmth, you gave me safety, and now I don't know how to return that. Ren was quiet. He knew what she was saying. He could feel it too. He had never been a hero. He wasn't someone who went out of his way for others, but something about Tally, something about her need for safety, made him act differently. Tally turned toward him, her eyes searching his face in the firelight. I don't know what to do now. I don't know how to repay you. You don't have to, Ren said softly. I just did what anyone would do, but it's more than that. Tally said, her voice trembling slightly. You've changed the way I see humans. You've made me believe that kindness is real. Ren didn't know how to respond. The words felt strange coming from her, but he could hear the sincerity in her voice. You're not just some stranger, she said, her voice growing softer. You're more than that. You've shown me a kind of warmth I never thought I would feel again. Ren's heart beat a little faster, and for a moment the air between them felt heavy. He didn't know why, but the distance between them felt smaller now, less cold, as if something was shifting. I don't know what to say, Ren whispered. You don't need to, Tally said, just stay close, please. I don't want to feel alone again. Ren nodded. I'll be here. And as they settled into the bed that night, the familiar warmth from Tally surrounded him once more. But this time it wasn't just about the heat, it was about something deeper, a connection, and though neither of them could put it into words, they both knew that things had begun to change. Something new had started between them. The storm outside continued, but inside the cabin they were no longer just two strangers, they were something more. The days on Nara 6 continued to pass slowly. The storm had finally cleared, but the cold still held the planet in a tight grip. Tally and Ren spent their time working on the broken pod, trying to fix what they could with the limited tools and materials available. Ren was able to repair the external damages, but the real problem lay inside. The pod's engine had been severely damaged, and it would take more than just his skills to get it working again. Tally spent more time with Ren watching him as he worked. She began to learn about human tools and the way they worked. She tried to understand his language and customs better, though she still found some things confusing. But as the days went by, a new tension began to form between them. The warmth that had once felt comforting now seemed to bring something else, something neither of them could fully understand. One evening, as the fire crackled in the hearth and the wind howled outside, Ren and Tally sat quietly, each lost in their own thoughts. Ren had been working on the pod all day, his muscles sore from the effort. He was frustrated that he couldn't do more. Tally, sitting beside him, sensed his mood. "You are angry," she said softly. Ren glanced up, surprised by her observation. "I'm not angry," he replied, though his tone was a bit sharper than he intended. "You are frustrated," Tally said, her large eyes studying him. "You do not like being helpless," Ren sighed and rubbed his face. "It's just this shouldn't be so hard. I've been doing this for years, fixing things, but this time it's different. I can't do it alone. I need more parts, more tools." Tally nodded slowly. "I know you do not need to explain, but I can help. I may not understand everything about your technology, but I can try." Ren shook his head, still feeling the weight of the problem. "It's not about understanding technology, it's about needing something I don't have. I'm not used to feeling powerless." There was a long silence. Tally seemed to think about his words, her fingers tracing the edge of her blanket. "I am sorry. I did not mean to make you feel this way. I have been useless." Ren turned to face her, his expression softening. "Tally, you're not useless. You've helped in ways I didn't expect. It's just this situation is harder than I thought. I don't know how to fix it, and that's frustrating." Tally hesitated, then spoke softly. I think we need to decide what to do next." "What do you mean?" Ren asked, unsure where she was going with this. "We've been here together for a while now, and while I still need to fix my pod, I also feel something different." She paused, as if unsure of how to continue. Ren looked at her carefully, sensing the change in the air. "What do you mean?" Ty's voice was almost a whisper. "I think I've gotten used to being here, to being with you. I know I have a mission to complete," but she trailed off, unsure how to express what she was feeling. Ren's heart skipped a beat. He had been feeling it too, but he hadn't wanted to admit it. Something was different now, something was changing. "I don't know what the right thing to do is," Tally continued. "I could leave, I could try to find a way back to my people, but I don't want to leave, not yet." Ren felt the weight of her words settle on him. He had known this day would come eventually. Tally would have to make a choice, return to her people, or stay here with him. "I don't want you to feel trapped here," Ren said quietly. "You came to Nara 6 to complete a mission. You shouldn't have to stay because of me." Tally looked down, her ears drooping slightly. "It's not because of you," she said softly. "It's because of something else, something I can't explain. I feel safe here, and not just because of the warmth or the shelter you gave me. I feel safe with you, but I don't know if that's enough." Ren's heart ached at her words. He didn't know what to say. He wasn't sure if he was ready to admit what he was feeling, but it was becoming harder to ignore. Every moment they spent together, every shared meal, and every quiet night by the fire made him realize that he cared more than he had ever expected. "I don't have the answers," Ren said. "I don't know what the right choice is either, but I do know that I don't want to be without you, not yet." Tally looked up at him, her eyes searching his face. Slowly, she reached out and placed her hand on his. "Then we'll figure it out together." Ren didn't pull away. Instead, he squeezed her hand gently, his heart steadying in his chest. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't know what the future would bring, but in that moment they both knew one thing: they didn't have to make a decision alone. The days on Nurse 6 were starting to blend together. The snow continued to fall in thick, heavy sheets, covering the world outside in a blanket of white. The fire in the cabin never seemed to go out, and Ren and Tally spent their time fixing the pod, preparing meals, and learning about each other. Yet, as the days passed, the tension between them was growing, something neither of them could ignore any longer. Ren had never imagined that something so small could change the course of his life. The quiet companionship he shared with Tally had become something deeper, something more meaningful than he ever expected, and he could feel it every time she looked at him, every time she laughed, every time they shared a simple moment together. It felt like something new was being built, but Tally was still torn. She had a mission, a duty to her people, and yet she had grown attached to Ren, and the safety he provided. She couldn't help but feel the pull of her duty to her people, but at the same time she didn't want to leave the calm she had found with him. One morning, as Ren checked the weather outside, Tally walked up to him. She had been thinking about the decision she had been avoiding for days. Ren. She began, her voice hesitant. I've been thinking a lot about what you said about me leaving, about going back to my people. Ren turned around, his eyes soft, and I think I need to make a decision. I can't keep waiting for something to change. I've been here long enough to know that staying here with you feels right, but I also know that I have a duty to my people. I'm supposed to find a new home for them. I can't just ignore that. Ren nodded, feeling the weight of her words. I understand you have a responsibility. I've tried to push it aside, Taylai continued, but it's always there in the back of my mind. I have to finish what I started. I can't keep hiding from it. Ren looked at her carefully. Then you should go. You can't abandon your people, Tally. I won't hold you back. Tally looked down at the floor, her heart heavy. I don't want to go, not yet, but I don't know what to do. Ren took a step closer to her, his voice gentle. You don't have to decide. Now we have time. Whatever you choose, I'll support you. Taylai's ears perked up. As she looked at him, she saw the sincerity in his eyes, the understanding that had been there from the beginning. Thank you, she whispered. The silence between them felt thick, but not